Welcome back to Laker Debaters. We're going to talk about a team that is on the fall right now, the Buffalo Bills. They started off the season 4-1, and all of Central and Western New York was really excited. You saw Bills fans you hadn't seen ever before in your life. And now they've lost 2 games in a row to the Jets and to the Cowboys, neither of which very close. Are the Bills done, or do they still have a chance to turn it around? Jake, I'm going to go to you.
Stick the knife in the Bills now. They are done. They 2 in a row, lost 3 of the last 4, and they haven't even looked good losing those games. They haven't been close games. They got absolutely destroyed by the Cowboys. And the Cowboys aren't exactly the top of the NFC themselves either. One of those inconsistent teams. Obviously, they're on their game on Sunday. They're just looking like the Bills from the past couple of years. I mean, they've looked like the Bills we've all know and regrettably loved. I mean, they're looking like Buffalo right now. They're not looking like the New England that they imitated at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they're completely done yet. I mean, with a running back like Fred Jackson,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like he's a beast. You know, he's going to come out and do his thing every week. So, I mean, are they done? They may not make it to the playoffs, but you know, I think they'll win a few more.
I'm gonna be kind of on your point. I don't think they're done yet. They're definitely on thin ice, but they have 2 really tough games left that they probably won't win. But you never know. They beat the Patriots if they play the Patriots and Jets. But other than that, their games are relatively winnable. I don't know the schedule off the top of my head, but looking at it, I was like, they can win these games. I believe the Chargers was one of them. They can beat most of the teams left on their schedule, and if they can take one from the Jets or Patriots, I mean, they're still in the race. And like you said with Fred Jackson, he's just been phenomenal this year. He only had 10 carries and still over 100 yards on Sunday. So, I mean, he can definitely carry the load. It depends which Fitzpatrick they get.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing you hear. He looked horrible against the Cowboys, just terrible. And earlier in the season, he looked great. He was one of the top, I think he had top 5 quarterback rating for a while.
Yeah.
And Steve Johnson has really fallen off. If he can get back on track and Fitzpatrick is decent, I mean, I think they can make a run. Do I think they'll win if they got in the playoffs? Absolutely not. I think they go down in the first round. But I wouldn't stick the fork in them just yet, but their defense is very bad. That's what's killing them. Their defense was banking on turnovers. That won the Patriots game for them. Turnovers that
4
led to a
picks by
touchdown.
Brady. You don't see that very often.
But
Right. You know,
it really hasn't been causing turnovers lately. I mean, it really hasn't been causing any havoc at all. I mean, Romo was 18 for 19 in the first half. I mean, 1 incompletion. That's ridiculous.
Romo just, threw a will against that Bills secondary on Sunday. They look bad doing it, honestly.
Yeah. I would say, at this point, I would say they're not done yet, but they're definitely falling off the edge right now.
well, they're only 5-4 too. I mean,
the whole AFC's 5-4, it seems.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, I guess with a 5-4 record, you're not in a losing record right now. You know what I mean? So I guess although you're in a division with a lot of other good teams, but you still have that chance that you could do something with it. So yeah, exactly. I don't think they're done yet.
Yeah. See, the only thing though is that statistically, the Patriots leading the AFC East, by the opponent's winning percentage, has the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL.
Right.
They play in Miami, they're playing Denver, they play Buffalo. I mean, these are teams that feasibly the Pats could easily not easily, but feasibly win out or lose maybe one of these games. I mean, I could see the Pats finishing 12-4 this year. I honestly could. They lost 2 in a row, but rebounding. Their team, the Pats look really good on Sunday, and the Jets. The Jets are inconsistent, admittedly, but they show flashes of greatness. I mean, they beat the Pats in the playoffs last year, and they look really good doing that too. So I mean, the Bills are in a tough division, and the way their team looked, Fitzpatrick, I just 8-8 maybe. I'll give them 8-8, but that's not gonna be good enough to win a wild card even. So.
I think they can get to 9-7 or 10-6, but it may not be enough to get in the playoffs. That's a problem.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But you mentioned that the Patriots played Denver as one of the remaining games. So let's talk about Denver. The Tim Tebow-led Broncos, since he's taken over, are 3-1. Now, those wins are against the Raiders, Chiefs, and Dolphins. And the Dolphins, which he had, I think, 2 completions in the first half. And no, that was just recently. He had 2 completions to win a game. And then he had like none. I think he was like 4 for 18 the first 3 quarters. But they're winning. I mean, they're 3-1 with them. What do you think about Tebow? Do you think he's a good quarterback, or do you think he's just gotten the benefit that he's played very bad teams so far?
You know, it's hard to say right now. I mean, the Denver University playbook they're running right now, they had like 60 rushing attempts last game against Kansas City, 8 passes, but the more important part, they won. And if the team playing the Jets on Thursday this week, if the Jets can't stop the run, Denver's going to win because Denver's going to run. They're not going to, they're not hiding behind anything. They're running the ball, or they'll bomb it out occasionally with Tebow. But here's what the Broncos are doing, and they're daring you to stop you. And the other teams haven't stopped them yet. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, but the other teams haven't been the Jets. The other teams have been the Chiefs, who, by God, they looked awful.
Yeah.
And the Raiders, who I think it was Palmer's first start, and he was not ready. And I mean, the Dolphins. I mean, they're the Dolphins. They're 2-8, 2-7, 2-8. I am not sold. I mean, they could win that division because that division's just awful. But I'm not sold at all. I don't think you can play against a team like the Jets and complete 2 passes and win. I'm sorry. I just don't see that. I think the Jets' defense is too good to allow just everyone running the ball. They don't even have a quarterback. They just substituted a quarterback for another running back. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
Right.
A running back who can occasionally throw 1 pass. That's really all they have.
I mean, I think that although Tebow may not be a franchise quarterback, he may not be this huge passing quarterback, and granted he hasn't played anybody extremely difficult yet, but he does win games. He does come out and he does rush, for whatever yards, and he does usually score a rushing touchdown and maybe throw a passing touchdown. So I guess no, he's not spectacular, but I think we should give him time, and I think he will get better. Maybe more practice at throwing the ball a little better, but I think that he could definitely get to a point where he's. I mean, look, they are 3-1, and yeah, they haven't played anybody completely hard, but give him the starting job off the gun, and I think that maybe he could show you what he can really do.
My only problem with him is he, like we mentioned multiple times, he hasn't played very good teams. He's still completing less than 45% of his passes, which is not even bad. Bad is an understatement for 40. That's horrible.
Right.
And the one good team they play, the one team with a winning record, well, the Raiders technically have a winning record, but they've just
5-4.
5-4. One team that's been decent that people consider a playoff team, definitively, the Lions. I think they lost 48-7.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm just not willing to admit that. I mean, Tebow threw 2 touchdown passes in that game. It was to the Lions, but I mean, it was just I'm just not sold. And I think with a good defense, maybe he could turn it around and have a good season and all that. But with this current makeup of a team, he's going to go against the Jets and he's going to look like a deer in the headlights. I'm just being honest. I don't see how he can beat the Jets. Now if he plays other divisional opponents again, he might be able to beat them. That division is, as we've mentioned, awful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the AFC West is it's wide open right now. I mean, the Jets' run defense, people have the impression that it's number 1 in the league, like it was. It's not this year. It's in the middle of the pack this year.
But
so I mean, there is, to be fair, they are down running backs. Denver has injuries with McGahee and Moreno. So it's kind of left on Tim Tebow, and so.
You know what? I think if I remember correctly, 5 or 6 people had multiple carries for the Broncos.
Yeah, no, I
it was
saw that.
outrageous. Lance Ball had 30 carries. I don't even think he had 30 carries in the season before that game.
Undrafted free agent right there.
It doesn't make any sense.
Great starting running back.
I don't know. They're a tough team to figure out. It's been the craziest offense we can see. All right, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA lockout. Will there be a season? Who knows? We'll talk about it when we come back. You're watching Laker Debaters on WTOP.